Hello viewers, it's Super GT here, and I'm very pleased to welcome you to the first race of the AOR V8 Supercars Championship. So, the first round we have here is around Watkins Glen, and I am driving the Mercedes number 9. So, the way it works is there are 8 teams of 3. So, of course, this is a team-based championship as well as a drivers-based championship, and there will be 8 races. Starting from yesterday was the first race for 8 weeks, so you can tune in every Friday to watch every race. And this is my qualifying lap, so we have 4 qualifying laps. It says 5 there, but the first one doesn't really count because it's your rolling up lap essentially. So we have 4 flying laps to set a qualifying lap, which obviously decides where we start on the grid. And then we have an hour race after that, or roughly an hour, as close to an hour as we can get. And the aim of the championship really is, well, an improvement on the last season. For those of you who watched the GTLM Le Mans championship I did, it wasn't so good having 2 classes. We found a lot of the problems existed in that league because of the 2 classes. So we got rid of the 2 classes, we've got 1 class now, so everyone's in the same machinery near enough. Some of the cars are a bit different to the others, but on the whole they are very similar. So yeah, there are 8 teams. There are 2 Ford teams, 2 Holden teams, 2 Mercedes-Benz teams, 1 Nissan team and a Volvo team. On paper it looks as though the Volvo teams are the strongest with the drivers they've got. So they've got Phil, Sam and T6 Bullet, who won the LMP1 class in the last series. So there's the qualifying order. I'm down in 10th. Not the best qualifying for me, although it was only 2 tenths off my best lap. So let's go around the start of the race. I'm going to stall off the line. These cars, I'm going to say they're hard to get off the line, but I should have practiced it. There's a bit of chaos. Someone comes up my right hand side, taps a few guys wide there, and I've gained 2 positions. I was in 18th, I'm up into 15th now as we go through turn 1, so I've lost 5 positions as it stands. So through the S's, the famous S's around Watkins Glen, I'm going to go around the outside here of Clausen and give them plenty of space on the inside. So that's a clean move into 14th. Now we go onto the long back straight. We are running the alternative layout of the circuit, so we aren't going to go into the chicane there. We're going to go past that into the very fast right-hander of turn 5, and it's all getting very close up to the front and the middle of the pack, as you'd expect. This is what is very good about V8 Supercars. We got contact, that is a run bum, was it, in the Xbox Ford, going into the side of someone else there. Couldn't quite catch who that was. I gained 3 positions out of that, which is very helpful, of course. So looking at the back of Urban's Octane, who's in 10th and a good 200 feet ahead of us, trying to close that gap to him so we can try and get back to where we were at the start of the race at least. So around these corners, these cars are very, very sensitive on the throttle. So around these kind of corners here, you have to be so patient on the throttle. So just a reminder, you can see my exact throttle inputs on the bottom right of the screen to the right hand side of the gear number. So the blue bar is my throttle application, the red is my braking application. So through the final turn there, Urban's not getting the best exit through there. That is quite a tough turn, and there is a wall right on the exit, which makes it even harder to get right. So through turn 1, again, got to be patient, especially over these curves. I'll go a bit wide there because I wasn't quite patient enough. So through turn 1, through turn 2 and 3 now, through the famous S's. I'm going to go into the slipstream onto the back straight. These cars can reach about 170 miles an hour on these straights. The Ford is a little bit quicker down these straights, so you can go about 5 or 6 miles an hour quicker, but it will be slower theoretically round the more twisty track. So I'm down the inside of Urban's Octane into 10th position. That's where I started, so it's only taken me a lap and a half to get back those 8 positions I lost at the very, very start of the race. And here we are looking at the back of RegamusMaximus, who is one of my teammates in the number 9 Mercedes. The other teammate is STI Callum, who's at the front of this train in 6th position, holding up a couple of guys there. But this is actually turning out to be a very good race, and this is the good thing about this championship, having 24 guys. I know there's 23 in this race, but 24 people in the same class, is that no matter where you are on the grid, you'll probably be racing someone quite closely, at least to begin with. So up ahead there, Callum goes a little bit wide, it looks like, and he's being passed by the Volvo of T6 Bullet, and just behind them is FTW Extreme Storm, I believe it is. Let me just check that. No, that is Shadow Demon. I do apologise. So FTW Shadow Demon in the Nissan, the white Nissan, just ahead of the Mercedes, which is in front of me. So I'm going to skip ahead here onto lap 4. Lap 3 was pretty much just me catching up with Regamus. So you can see here I'm a lot closer to the back of Regamus, and this complex here is very difficult to follow people very closely. And Regamus gets a bit sideways there, goes over the grass. I'm going to go into the back of him, make contact. I couldn't quite decide which way to go. I didn't want to go to the left because I thought he might come and back across, so I thought I'd leave it. Just play it safe. It is a long race in the end, and I'm looking up the inside, sort of a half-hearted overtaking manoeuvre. I'm on the curb, it's unsettling the car, so I have to concede that I can't overtake him there. Urban's Octane catching up ever so slightly there because of our infighting in the team here. We're actually losing time there to 8th position, as you can see. So I'm going to skip ahead once again. I'm going to go up the inside there, where it's sort of again another half-hearted move. Regamus very slow into that corner, and I was very late on the brakes. Just about going into the back of him. He's gone very wide, and I'm going to look up the inside into this one. He's got more momentum there. He's not really on anymore, the move, so I'm going to have to pull back in and then have the position. So through the penultimate corner into the last one. I prefer to stay in 4th gear here to keep the car settled. And he's gone very wide, it looks like. No, not quite. And I'm going to stay in 10th for the time being. So skipping ahead to the end of lap 7, through again the penultimate corner. Regamus gets a very slow line through there. I'm going to dive up the inside. Unfortunately, that's given me a shallow angle in, which will give me a slow exit out. And then you can see Regamus appears because he got the better line through that corner, doing the cutback on me. Textbook move from him back into 9th position. So through turn 1, it's going to be a very close battle, it looks like, between the Mercedes number 9, myself, Regamus, and Callum throughout this whole season. We seem to be very well balanced, very competitive through these turns, and STI Callum is actually gaining a little bit on us. The 3 cars ahead of us are getting away because of our battling at the moment. So into turn 5, braking at the start of the tyre barrier. I can go through that again later in the race to make you a bit more aware of the braking points I'm using on this track. So getting very close to the back of Regamus. Hopefully he's not looking behind too much and focusing on going forward rather than defending, looking at me. So essentially you don't want to be looking behind too much in a race like this. You really do have to focus on going forward, being as consistent as you can, and just hope that the guy behind doesn't smash into the back of you. So I've got a good line through the exit of that corner. I've got the inside and just make a bit of contact. I'm going to say that was a fair move in the end. It wasn't the cleanest move, but Regamus didn't spin out or anything. So we're going to continue with that on to the end of lap 8. I'm in 9th position, so heading into the final corner of lap 8. So just a reminder, this is a 36 lap race. There will be pit stops. It looks like we're going to be doing a 2-stop strategy for this race. And up ahead, it looks as though someone's gone off. Ahead there, yes, someone has indeed gone off. That is Phil, who was in 5th position, I believe, has gone wide. So that's granted me another position up into 8th. So we're going to skip here to lap 13, approaching the first pit stops. And the FTW Shadow Demon had a bit of an accident there with Callum, who's lagging all over the place. You can see him just up ahead there, skipping all over the place. So unfortunately for Shadow Demon, a bit of a lag spike there has damaged his car. So moving ahead to the end of lap 14, so moving ahead one lap. That's Callum diving into the pits there. And we're going to continue for one more lap. You can do 15 laps, but you can't do 16 as far as I know. I don't think anyone did do 16. So through turn 1, trying to do a different strategy. So coming through on the last few corners here, one lap later, we're going to see if staying out one lap longer has helped me or not. So as we dive into the pit lane, get a good exit. So we're going to skip forward to the other end of the pit lane. That pit lane is so slow, 33 miles an hour, it's just ridiculously long. So there goes Callum, just about gets out ahead of me after the first pit stops. But I think I've gained a tiny bit, if anything. Although it was only one lap difference, so it's not going to be a huge amount of time gained or lost either way. Regamus is still behind us, but I think I've gained on him by a few hundred feet. And the guy ahead is T6 Bullet. He looks like he has got a bit more comfortable in his 5th position there. The top 4, incidentally, have pulled away. On the map you can see them going down the back straight now. All 4 of them were pretty close throughout the whole race, and you can see Kerry's version of this race. I'll post a link in the description for that, because it is a very good race up the front as well. So STI Callum here, we've skipped to lap 23, and again you can see here he's having a bit of lag trouble, and this is the problem. I don't want the same thing to happen to me as what happened to Shadow Demon. I don't want a lag spike to take me out, so I'm going to go to the side here just to make sure that I don't end up being a victim of his lag. Unfortunately he doesn't seem to be lagging anymore, it's just a momentary spike which unfortunately took out Shadow Demon, but it's not going to take me out this time. So as I said earlier, the Mercedes team seem to be very close. This number 9 team, at least, there is another Mercedes team. So I'm up the inside of Callum, he's gone very wide. Perhaps he's been put off by his own lag. Looking backwards again at me maybe, and he has lost a position. He's been demoted to 7th and I've gone up to 6th. So this is the highest position I've been in the race so far. And looking ahead on the distance markers, T6 Bullet is a good 700 feet ahead in his Volvo. Volvo is actually the car I wanted to choose before I ended up with the Mercedes. This was my second choice, so I'm not too disappointed, but the Volvo seemed to handle really well for this track, maybe not so much on others. I think it's got the shortest wheelbase, which helps it a lot, and yeah, that's the main reason I wanted to choose that car. It really handled very nicely, but I'm not too disappointed with this car. So as I said, this car, the number 9 Mercedes, we've got 3 drivers, and we've got another team, another Mercedes team, the number 4 Mercedes, with another 3 drivers as well. So going into halfway mark of lap 24, we are being tailed very closely by STI Callum. Just gone past him on the last lap, but he's going to stick with me. We have been pretty much even throughout the whole race. He did get ahead towards the beginning, but I did reel him in slightly, and I have managed to get past him now. He has taken 24 laps, but it has happened, but that doesn't mean I'm going to get away necessarily. So I am currently 3 tenths up on my best lap. This is actually the only full lap I show you, pretty much, apart from at the start. So Callum there, looking back, he is actually very close. My quickest lap throughout this whole race was a 1:49.8, I believe, which was about the same as I did in qualifying. The fastest I've done in practice was a 1:48.5, and so I'm not too far off in the race, and I always seem to go quicker when I practice anyway, which is quite strange, because given I have 36 laps to try and beat my time, I guess the pressure does get to me. So lap 26, going past my first back marker. There were other back markers, but I didn't encounter them on the circuit, perhaps while they were in pits. So Not too much trouble with back markers in this race. So moving ahead to lap 27, I've got into 4th position, but that's courtesy of other people pitting for their second time. And here's my pit stop for the second time on the exit, almost losing it, but getting out ahead of Callum once again. Fairly static for this second half of the race, and T6 Bullet remains let's see, about 1,000 feet ahead, so he's actually gained on me over the last 5 or 10 laps. So I'm going to skip ahead here to lap 36. I held off Callum for the rest of the race, and here you can see that the race end timer has started. Because Sam has crossed the line to win the race, Jordan was actually winning the race, or in the lead of the race for the majority of it, but was passed by Sam in the second pit stop phase. And again, you can watch all of this on Kerry's version of the race, which will be very entertaining, no doubt. So coming through the final corner for my first AOR V8 Supercars race. A very pleasing race in the end, quite satisfying to get from 18th at one point back into 6th position, a net gain of 4 positions from my qualifying position. And you can see there the number 9 Mercedes finishing 6, 7 and 8. So that bodes well for the championship. The race won by Sam in the Volvo. His teammate T6 Bullet finishing 5 seconds ahead of me in 5th position. The top 4 covered by 8 seconds. There's 26 second gap down to T6 Bullet, and then I finished 5 seconds behind him. So I think my target really for the next race would be try and narrow that gap to the top 4. So I was a good 30 seconds behind at the end. Not stalling at the start would be helpful, because I lost a good amount of positions by doing that. So obviously I don't want to do that again. A good objective for me would be to try and finish in the podium positions for one of the races. That is quite a tough objective, but if I could do that, I'd be very, very pleased. And as for the team championship, to try and win that would be very good. It'd be very hard because we've got Sam as one of the top 4 drivers, and he's going to consistently finish up there. It's just a matter of us trying to be more consistent as a team, trying to beat his other teammates, and that might help us to beat them in the team championship. But that's going to be the end of this race, the first race of 8. You can join me every Friday from now on for the next few races. I do apologise that my commentary hasn't been brilliant on this race. I have tried to do my best, but I'm commentating very quickly after the race, try and get this done and processed for today. So yeah, that's going to be the end. I hope you have enjoyed it. Hit that like button if you did. Let me know your thoughts on the race and maybe your expectations of me throughout this whole season. What do you think I could achieve? So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.